Hello Croeso Fulcher, welcome back to the channel, Old Boy here, and today I'm at Bremen Rocks, North Yorkshire, and I've brought you here today so that I can read out my translation of a section of the Onomasticon by Julius Pollux, specifically the section where he talks about the origin of the purple dye. Now this isn't an exaggeration when I say this has taken me a very long time to translate, probably around about 20 hours. And even though Pollux is writing around about the 2nd century, he uses a lot of non-Attic vocabulary, and as such some of the word forms are difficult to identify. But I got there in the end. I'm happy that I've managed to pull out as much of the native meaning as possible, so I hope you enjoy it. With all that being said, let's get into it. But once more rest thee a while, so that you might not labour, looking away before one form. I shall speak about purple so that its origin may be discovered. The Tyrians say that Hercules was loved by the native nymph. Indeed, the nymph had the name Turos. She was following with Hercules and dog, against ancient custom after all. But you know that the dogs went together with the heroes to the point of assembly. Now the Herculean dog saw a purple creature crawling against a rock with its flesh projecting out. The dog seized the creature between its teeth, and while the flesh made for nourishment, the gore stained the dog's lips, making them purple. But as the hero came to the girl, she saw the dog's lips shining with colour, and being unaccustomed with dye, she said she would no longer welcome Hercules if he should not provide her with garments that were more beautiful than the dog's lips. Therefore, on the one hand, Hercules discovered the creature and recovered its gore, carrying off the gift for the girl, becoming the first discoverer in the Tyrian story of the Phoenician dye. Now on the other hand, the Phoenicians eagerly pursue the creature, and using wool show that it shines with colour from its visual appearance, and they twine together long ropes, strong and potent, that are able to be at sea. And the rope is continuous, like bells stretched out at moderate intervals, having woven together cages from rope or some kind of reed. But thickets are against the entrance, for the ends of the ropes or reeds around the entrance of the cage are purposefully permitted to lift up, so that on the one hand those who enter are easily allowed and are separated, but on the other they retire backwards, not surrendering a return for those who have passed through. Those who fish for the purple creatures put these cages on hooks as bait and send them down into the rocky places, having fastened a small reefing rope with anything cork so as to lift their spoils. After leaving them for the night, and indeed having spent the day, they haul up the cages that for the most part are full of the creatures. Then having struck the shell and the flesh, and having preserved them, and after clearing out the impurity with water, they boil the spoils from the sea in a cauldron that is exposed to fire. But the blood, whenever it is in the company of fire, it dissipates and also loses colour. On the one hand becoming blonde, but on the other it becomes a gleaming dark, the colour changing from one into another. And anything which may be placed, all which has come together in the blood, its colour is stained, but the purple dye rejoices when consorting with the sun, and the brightness rekindles it, and it makes greater and more bright light, becoming empurpled from the fire above. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I'm now going to take a walk around to get some footage that I can play while we dive into the LSJ and analyse some of these words, because it really will help pull out some more context and meaning. Okay, so the first part that I just want to look at is the part that says Eipeto aratoi Heraclei kai Kuan kataton palaion nomon, which I translated as, she was following with Hercules and dog against ancient custom after all. Now Eipeto is from epomai, and if we look on the LSJ, we'll see that epomai is listed as meaning follow. And there's also a little note which just says see epo. So if we look at that, we can see that comes from epeimi, which means to be upon, to be at hand, to be in one's possession or to be imminent. So as you can see, it's not just simply that she was just following him around for no apparent reason. There's a lot more to it than that. And hopefully that's going to come through when we look at these next words. So the passage goes on. Oista de hoti toise rosi sune seiesan mechri tes ecclesias oikunes, which I translated as, but you know that the dogs went together with the heroes to the point of assembly. So the word we're going to look at here is Kuan, which is the word for dog. And just as a side note, you can see that it's quite similar to the Irish and Welsh word for dog. Irish being Cú, as in Cú Cullen, the hound of Cullen the smith, and in Welsh it's Key. So you can see it's surprisingly similar. Anyway, looking at the LSJ, Kuan, as I said, is listed as dog, but it's also a metaphor of persons, a watchdog or a guardian, and it actually says it's used of Agamemnon as an example. And you can see as well, it's also listed as being used of the servants, agents, or watchers of the gods. So, I mean, is Hercules literally going around with a dog, or is it a metaphor for a servant or an agent or a guardian? Because another word that we're going to look at in that sentence, I think using the metaphor is the context in which it's being used, and we're going to look at that word now. And that word is sun eiseiesan, which is the word for to go together with, in reference to the dogs who go together with the heroes to the point of assembly. So let's take a look at that word now to see if we can get some more meaning out of it. So it's from the verb eiseimi with the sun prefix, which means with or together. And the LSJ has its meaning listed as enter or go into. And then it gives us some examples of how else the verb is used. So it says also of the chorus or actors coming upon the stage, or of public speakers coming into the assembly. Now what's interesting about this is when the dogs are described as going with the heroes, they are described as mechri tes ecclesias, which is until the point of assembly. So I think the term Kuan here could be the metaphor for the guardian or servant, agent or watcher of the gods. So are these male cult followers of Hercules? Is that why earlier the sentence says about the nymph that she was following with Hercules and dog against ancient custom, after all? I have seen texts where the purple is described as being used in the mystery rites, and there are references, I think off the top of my head it could be the Orphic Lithica, which does mention the priestess having the purple lips as well. So that's going to conclude our look at some of these words and the context, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Please do let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks to everyone who supports me and the channel, it is much appreciated. Thanks again for watching, I'll catch you on the next one. Old boy, out.